Hi everyone, hope you are feeling positive and healthy. Please subscribe with all bell notifications if you haven't already, and please don't hesitate to leave your valuable feedback and advice below. Thank you very much. Let's jump into the stories. Am I the unreasonable one for excluding my cousin from an event to introduce my fiancé to my extended family? My cousin, Lily, and I are the same age, so our moms have always pushed us together. It was fine when we were kids, but as we grew up, we became very different people. Our moms never seemed to get the memo though and continued to force us together, and this led to a lot of resentment and jealousy between us. When we were both 20, I introduced my boyfriend to our family. He was an engineering student and my entire family kept praising him for how smart he was and asked Lily why she couldn't date a guy like him. Her boyfriend at the time was unemployed and not in school. Well, a few months later he broke up with me because he needed to figure out who he was, only to start dating Lily less than a month later. I was devastated, but due to family pressure I pretended everything was okay. My ex ended up dropping out of school and Lily and he got married shortly after. After finishing college, I decided against moving back home and instead went very low contact with my aunt/Lily. We're currently 27 and I have only seen them a few times since. Lily and my ex now have 2 kids together. Early last year my boyfriend proposed to me. I never introduced him to my extended family, and as far as everyone was concerned, I was happily single this whole time. Obviously, he now had to meet the family, so I decided to host a party at my parents' house. My sister was helping me plan everything and she mentioned that Lily and my ex were having problems and it looked like they were going to get a divorce. I decided against inviting Lily because my ex was not the only relationship of mine she'd sabotaged. We ended up having the party and it went great. My fiancé got along with my family and everyone seemed to like him. I did ask that no one mentioned anything to Lily/my aunt and it seems like no one did. Fast forward to a few weeks ago and my parents were hosting a barbecue and invited me and my fiancé. My family have since met him a few times, all without Lily being there, and he has become very close to my cousin who he is helping switch careers into his field. Well, Lily and my aunt came to the barbecue so I had to introduce them. Lily noticed this wasn't the first time the rest of my family were meeting him and asked one of our other cousins about it. She mentioned the party. My aunt and Lily ended up shooing me and my mom out, saying we were making the family pick sides over an issue that was already over, that my lack of invitation was implying Lily was a homewrecker, that I was petty and insecure. My mom was angry at me because she hadn't realized I was purposely excluding Lily. Lily and my ex are currently separated, and my mom says she now needs her family around her more than ever. She wants me to invite Lily out with my fiancé to make up for everything. A part of me does feel guilty, but not enough to invite her out. My sister told me to tell them to F off. So, am I the unreasonable one? Not the unreasonable one. You didn't imply Lily was a home wrecker, but hey, if the lack of invite made her feel like one. Not the unreasonable one. Your aunt is a crapster and your mom is her enabler. My mom says she now needs her family around her more than ever. Ask your mom when she and the family are going to prioritize you. You didn't ask anyone to pick sides. Aunt and Lily did. Remind her that she was fine with the way things were going until her sister decided to make things all about Lily. She wants me to invite Lily out with my fiancé to make up for everything. What would you be making up for? Ask your mom why, every single time she had a chance to be happy for you, she decided to undermine it by dragging her sister into things. Remind her that their behavior was the reason you had little to do with them. Tell her you need to know if she intends to carry her preference for her sister and Lily into you wedding planning. Make it clear that if that's her plan, she'll be nothing more than an invited guest. Your sister is right. Unfortunately, not every mother thinks that being a mom is her most important role. Yours decided long ago that her sister was more important. You were right to put some space between the two of you before, and you should probably go back to that. Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to invite my cousin to my wedding? This is a long and messed up story, but I'm going to try to do my best to summarize everything. My older sister, now 33, was engaged to Jake when she was 23. I, 15 at the time, now 25, walked in on Jake and my cousin Rebecca messing around in my grandparents' bedroom during a family party. They begged me not to tell my sister and gave me a long talk about how it would break her heart and ruin our family if I did. That I would be the one hurting her if I told her. Over the next 2 months, I watched my sister plan her wedding with Rebecca's help. The guilt was making me physically sick, and one day I broke down crying and exposed everything to my mom. She told my sister, who was obviously devastated. My sister waited until the next family event to break up with Jake and done it by giving her engagement ring to Rebecca in front of our extended family and told her she could have him. The aftermath was very messy. Jake and Rebecca ended up getting married. There was a lot of abuse in their marriage. Rebecca, now also 33, is finally going to file for divorce after begging her parents to help her. When Rebecca decided to marry Jake despite what he had done to my sister, my entire extended family cut her off, including her own parents. I think that only her two sisters attended her wedding from our family. Rebecca has been back in the family fold for about a year now. My sister, who is happily married to someone else, has not forgiven her, but acts cordial around her. My parents are more forgiving due to everything she's been through. I am having the hardest time accepting her back. My mom had to put me in therapy after the whole ordeal because even after everything was exposed, the guilt was still too much for me to handle alone. My fiancé and I were supposed to get married in October, but due to the uncertainty of the pandemic, we've decided to postpone the actual ceremony until the virus clears up and have a courthouse wedding on our original date. After the courthouse wedding, my in-laws will be throwing a small, within quarantine rules, party for us. Only the people mentioned on the invite are allowed to attend. No +1s. When Rebecca's parents got theirs, they called me up and asked me if I'd forgotten Rebecca lived with them. I told them she wasn't invited, and they asked me to please reconsider because she was trying to be a better person and to be a part of our family again, and excluding her would set her back in her recovery. They weren't rude or demanding, which is why I feel guilty. My mom has said it's my choice and my sister said she didn't care either way. Am I TA for refusing to invite her since she technically wronged my sister and not me? Not the unreasonable one. Don't let Rebecca's parents shame you into inviting her. Her becoming a better person is not your responsibility. Get by your sister, honey. You're doing great. Congratulations. Not the unreasonable one. Rebecca and Jake manipulated you as a 15-year-old to try to hide their affair. They put the blame for their infidelity on you and told you that it would be your fault if your sister was hurt. That was lousy behavior on top of stealing her cousin's fiancé. You do not owe her forgiveness and you do not need to invite her to your wedding. I would reach back out to your aunt and uncle and inform them that you'd understand if they didn't feel comfortable attending if Rebecca isn't invited. But you don't feel comfortable inviting someone who put you in that situation when you were a vulnerable child at your own wedding. Am I the unreasonable one for not putting my inheritance toward my stepdaughter's college fund? I'm 30F, and I've been married to my husband, 42, for a year. We've been together 3 years total. He has a daughter that just turned 16 and a son that's 14. His son is special needs, and requires full-time care. The kids live with their mother most of the time. My dad died when I was in high school. He'd been sick a long time and he planned for the end well in advance. My sister and I had a trust set up for our inheritance. Once we were 18, we received $2,500 a year. The rest was off limits until we turned 30. Dad wanted us to be responsible before we got the majority of the money, so we wouldn't just waste it in our early 20s. The inheritance is, well, substantial. Dad was an entrepreneur with a lot of successful businesses. Not enough to live off of forever, but it's a good safety net and an investment for the future. I've had plans for the money for a while. I want to pursue a PhD, which has been a long-term goal, and use the money to upgrade our home, and, my biggest goal of all, adopt a child. The rest will be split into my retirement and savings. While we usually have shared finances, the inheritance is 100% mine and is in its own bank account. My husband has no legal right to it. That being said, most of my plans for the money involve him as well, obviously. I've been upfront about the money since we met, as well as how I intend to spend it. My husband asked if it'd be willing to start contributing to my stepdaughter's college fund, which he and his wife have been putting money into since she was little. Her school of choice is out of state, which makes cost astronomically higher. I'm fine with helping her some, for basics like food or gas or utilities, but tuition and fees and room and board are expensive, and I don't want to put thousands of dollars toward it. He said they haven't been able to invest as much as they wanted toward her fund since their son has unexpected medical expenses a few years ago, and they needed more money for his doctor/hospital/carer. She really wants to go to this school, which I understand, but we live less than 40 minutes from a university. She's been studying hard and is a good student, so I think she'll get in if she applies. I told my husband she needs to stay in state, and I won't be using a big chunk of money that I plan to invest in our future on expenses for an out-of-state school. He's a bit irate and says I have a responsibility to her, and we're a family. I don't think I'm being selfish, and I hate to see her disappointed, but he's known since the beginning that I already have plans for the money. Am I being crappy here? Not the unreasonable one. It's your money and you do not have a responsibility to her. Don't let him manipulate you and ruin your dreams. That's how resentment forms. You've only been together a year and he's saying this? Absolutely not. Keep your money and do with it as you please. Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to step down from my position as best man? My 26 years old female best friend Jay, 27 years old male, is getting married in February if conditions allow to this girl L, 27 years old female. For background, me and Jay have known each other our entire lives because our parents are good friends. We're both from Russia and moved to America together several years ago and used to live together before he got with L. I see him as my brother now, but we did briefly date when I was 18, realized I'm a lesbian, but otherwise there has never been anything romantic between us. Back to the wedding. After announcing his engagement, Jay asked me to be his best man for the wedding. I of course agreed. He's the most important person in my life. I'm honored to be his best man. This was about 8 or 9 months ago, and at the time Elle seemed to have no issue with me taking on this role. However, a few days ago Elle told me she needed to talk to me about the wedding. She told me that she was not okay with Jay having a woman as his best man and that I needed to step down. I tried to rationalize with her and she went on this rant to me about how she knew I was secretly in love with him, how I was trying to break them up, that I was a bad person, etc. She tried to say that now she didn't want me at the wedding at all. I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, Jay is like a brother to me. We only dated for maybe 5 months, and she knows I like girls. I told Jay about what happened and asked if I should just step down, and he insisted I shouldn't and said he'd talk to Elle. Well, apparently that caused them to have a huge fight and Elle is staying with her mom right now. She's been spamming my phone telling me it's all my fault and that I'm destroying her relationship. But it's really not my intention. But after all this fighting, I wonder if I should have just agreed to step down. Am I the a-hole? Note: sorry if some things don't make sense. English isn't my first language. Update. First off, I want to thank everyone for your feedback. I appreciate it very much. And another thank you to the people who left some awards. That was very kind. But back to the issue. The news is honestly kind of crazy. Just a bit ago Elle texted me. But instead of the rude things she'd been saying, she apologized and asked if she could call me. I said yes, and Elle apologized profusely for what she said and assured me she didn't mean it. Unfortunately, the reason why she acted this way has caused big drama. Elle admitted to me that she'd been talking to Jay's sister, her and Jay are on very bad terms, but she was still invited to the wedding, and that his sister told Elle these horrible things. The texts were along the lines of, Jay will always love my name more than you, he doesn't really love you, my name is secretly in love with Jay, and more awful things. Jay's sister has always seemed to hate me, I know this, but the fact that she did all this astounds me. Elle kept apologizing for believing Jay's sister and not coming to me or Jay first. I forgive her and I understand why she acted the way she did. We told Jay about this and he's very angry about it. His relationship with his sister is completely done with, unfortunately, and she will not be at the wedding. But on the bright side, everything has worked out between me and Elle and there are no hard feelings. So that's about it. Once again, thank you to everyone who's given feedback, I appreciated it. Not the unreasonable one. She's insecure and it's not your fault this is happening to her. It's hers. If she didn't want this to happen, then she should have talked about it with your friend that she is marrying like an adult. Not the unreasonable one. The best man is up to Jay and Jay only. If he had asked you to step down, you should. But he wanted you to stay. If his fiancé is gonna act like this now, that could be trouble for Jay down the line. Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to help my stepsister / getting her punished in an extracurricular I'm the assistant coach of? I'm going to be kind of vague in this post for privacy reasons. Hope you can understand. I, 18 years old female, am a freshman at college right now. My stepsister, 16 years old female, is a junior in high school. We both did the same extracurricular in high school. I was the team president senior and junior year, and I spearheaded a lot of the new policies that allowed our team to develop into a nationally competitive school. Under this extracurricular are many different events. In Event A I was nationally successful, and in Event B I was internationally successful. I was scouted by Hype schools for Event B. Event A is more popular in the US than Event B, and because I have a good reputation in the community, I privately coach people in Event A for $60 per hour. This might seem excessive, but it's an exhausting gig. I'm also incredibly busy, since I'm a college freshman and I'm also still competing for my college in Event B. Since my school's coach and I have a great relationship, I've been invited to work as an assistant coach for the team. My responsibilities are only to spearhead the development of Event B in our area and on our team, as well as be an adult chaperone when he's absent. My stepsister and I aren't close. Our parents got married only 2 years ago. My dad's wife doesn't like me, and used to reprimand me whenever I beat my stepsister at competitions. My stepsister was just a ick. She would bully the weak and cower from the strong. She'd make fun of teammates who were worse than her, but suck up to people better than her. She relied on my reputation to gain connections and clout. My stepsister is intent on going to the same school I'm at, and as such, wanted to be team president and nationally successful by junior year. She has yet to be considerably regionally successful. My dad's wife told her that if someone as lazy as I could be successful, she certainly could do much better than I did. My dad's wife is insisting that I private coach my stepsister in Event A for free. I said I'd charge $60 per hour and I'm all booked out right now. She says since I'm the team's assistant coach I have a responsibility to help her, and I told her my job description had nothing to do with privately coaching any student in Event A, which would be unfair to everyone else. When team officers were announced, my stepsister got treasurer, not president. A very qualified and kind girl who I specifically recommended for the job got president. My stepsister threw a tantrum about it. In our family group chat, she and her mom threw some incredibly disgusting insults at the girl who got president. My dad's wife is a team parent, so this behavior is especially concerning. I sent the screenshots of their rampage to the coach, who's suspended her from club activities for 3 months, taken her off the roster for national tournaments this year, and revoked her treasurer position. Obviously my stepsister and her mom are furious. My dad's wife even threatened my college tuition, which she doesn't even pay for. Not the unreasonable one. As an adult, you have to guard your reputation. Allowing your family to not only ride your coattails, but damage your reputation with their shenanigans would not be a wise move. Demanding you coach someone for free, family or not, is rude and entitled. Not the unreasonable one. You guys aren't really close and it would be unfair to coach her for free. It's okay that you want to charge her. Being your stepsister doesn't give her any privileges or advantages. If she wants to be president she should earn it herself. Throwing tantrums and insulting those who do better than her is not the way to go, and punishing her was the right thing to do. Their coach has to know if she's being disrespectful towards others. Also, has your dad talked to his wife about the way she treats you? It's weird that she can say and do all those things and get away with it. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.